Am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend to cover up her body when strangers enter the home? I am fully aware the title sounds sexist, but hear me out, please. My girlfriend comes from a wealthy background and grew up with maids, chefs, chauffeurs, etc. I was raised in a completely opposite environment, and I am still adjusting to dating someone like her. When we're not with her parents, we spent a lot of time at one of her apartments. Here's the issue. My girlfriend likes to walk around home barely wearing anything, which is fine. It's awesome. But she does this even when the quote-unquote help are around. For example, last month, her family hired a new driver for her. He stopped by the apartment to introduce himself. She was only wearing underwear. Keep in mind, this is the first time they've met in person. I felt awkward. He was visibly awkward, and she didn't give a shit at all. She was casually chatting to him while scrolling away on her phone. She does this all the time. She doesn't think she needs to wear any decent amount of clothes at all. When people that work for her are around, she will casually walk around just wearing a thong or a tiny crop top. Just a crop top, nothing else. She even does this with complete strangers. One time, she opened the door for the delivery guy wearing only a see-through gown. You could see everything. Afterwards, I talked to her about it, and she was utterly confused as to why I felt uncomfortable. Then she laughed and told me to, quote unquote, stop being a jealous baby. She even said that I'm unreasonable. We had another discussion about this yesterday, and I told her that she probably wouldn't feel comfortable if I did the same. She said that she doesn't understand why I care what her staff think and that it never even crossed her mind that this is inappropriate. She told me that she only does this in the comfort of her home and not in front of quote unquote actual people, i.e., people that don't work for her. She kind of got mad at me and she vented to her friends. According to all of them, I'm weird for having a problem with this, and I'm an asshole for telling my girlfriend to cover up. Somehow, I'm the villain of this story. Am I really the asshole? Oh boy, the top comment coming in with 46,000 upvotes. Why are you with someone who thinks, quote unquote, the help aren't real people? She sounds incredibly self-centered and inconsiderate to treat people who work for her like their feelings don't matter at all. Not the asshole judgment here. Next comment coming in with 19,000 upvotes. This is a reply from the OP to the comment I just read. I asked her to explain what she meant by that, and she just laughed it off and said, I know what she means, ... I did not. Oh, and the reply back from the person who made that first comment, 30,000 upvotes. I think you do, though. She sees those people as below her and not real people with real feelings that do matter. It says a lot about her character. Next comment, 6,000 upvotes. And also, if she feels lonely one day, they're there and she's already half undressed. At this rate, the nihilists are going to kidnap her and try to get money from the Big Lebowski. Next comment, 2,000 upvotes. And it's not cheating because they're not real people. Don't be such a jealous baby. This comment is underrated. Take this upvote and back away. Next comment, 2,000 upvotes. OP, I know from personal experience that it can be fun to date someone with vastly more money than you and tag along for all their rich people nonsense. But unless she's making enough money herself to sustain her lifestyle, she is 100% at the mercy of whomever in her family controls the cash flow and always will be. She doesn't even know how to act in normal society. If you want to progress this relationship, make your peace not only with her treating blue collar people like peasants, but also with the fact that you will both be taking orders from her family and that she will set aside with them against you rather than suffer even momentary discomfort. And my vote, this guy is not the asshole, but I think he needs to leave her. That was so uncalled for with how she referred to her workers as not real people. My vote, not the asshole. Am I the asshole for inviting the son of a public figure to a house party to call out my friend who claims he was related to the public figure? I have this friend we will call Andy, 28 male, who for the longest time has always told people that he is related to this pretty famous guy in my state that founded a gaming company that is very well known. They do share the same name, so it was not unheard of. Anyways, so for the past 10 years, it's always just been this thing. Andy is related to so-and-so. That's cool. But since COVID, for some reason, it's really amped up. He's been mentioning it quite often out of the blue. Every topic somehow can relate to how he's related and or knows inside information about this game company and when they are going to be releasing their next big title. Everyone is usually just like, okay, cool. Well, I had the opportunity to hang out with the famous guy's son for a day at a racing fundraiser event. Anyways, we were talking and hit it off and exchanged details and hung out another day after the event. I told him about my friend and he told me that he's never heard of my friend Andy and they are not related. And he told me that for a laugh, I should let him know the next time he starts telling one of his stories at a get-together, he would show up if he was free. So I host a house party. Andy, predictable, starts talking about how he was at Famous Guy's house a few weekends ago. So I texted Famous Guy's son and I'm like, yo, it's happening. And give him the address. He lives nearby, so he showed up and I introduced him as a friend. By this point, Andy has stopped talking about Famous Guy, so I cue up the topic by saying, man, I really wish so-and-so would at least finish the storyline to so-and-so. And that gets Andy talking about how he knows the ending and how it was supposed to end. Famous Guy's son is like, oh, wow, how do you know the ending? And Andy is like, oh, Famous Guy is my uncle. At this point, Famous Guy's son is like, no, you aren't. I've never even met you. Famous Guy is my dad. Andy was like, no, you're not. And Famous Guy's son is like, yeah, I am. Google me. And it came up that he was, in fact, so-and-so's son. People at the party started ragging on Andy and making fun of him. Andy ended up going home and was disappearing from the friend group, and we haven't really heard from him since. This was like 2 weeks ago. Some people in the group say what I did was pretty uncalled for, while others in the group think it's hilarious to call him out, but I should probably reach out to Andy. So, am I the asshole for inviting the son of a public figure to a house party to call out my friend who had claimed he was related to the public figure? Top comment coming in with 1,000 upvotes. Everyone's the asshole. Yes, the guy lied. That makes him the asshole. But you decided to very publicly embarrass and call out your friend. Not friend behavior in my book. Next comment. Andy sounds pretty pathetic. Not just this years-long lie, but the fact that he met the actual son of the famous person and started arguing that the son really wasn't related, whereas he supposedly is. LOL. I'm not much for public humiliation, especially when the person being humiliated is so obviously insecure that they have to resort to that kind of a lie. But in this case, if it had only been a one-on-one conversation between him and the famous person's son, Andy could have easily walked away, never told anyone about it, and continued this fiction even longer. It's sad that he was laughed at by so many, but as another commenter said, this puts everyone on the same page. And if Andy can manage not to spin any more outrageous yarns, this whole thing might die down eventually. Next comment. If someone is really your friend, the goal shouldn't be to publicly humiliate them. And that was clearly what the goal was here. Even if they are lying, when OP found out that the guy was lying, OP should 100% have gone to him privately and said, "Dude, I met his son last week. He's never heard of you. Why are you doing this? Are you okay?" If this was a stranger, then sure, humiliate away. But this is supposedly a friend. Him lying about his identity is a clear sign of low self-esteem. It shouldn't be just tolerated, and it should be called in. But if it are really his friend and care about him at all, embarrassing him isn't the way to do it. And my vote, everyone's the asshole. He shouldn't have done this publicly.